Hey. Good morning. What up? Get up, move your body. Get your body moving. First Sky Omaha Radio. You know what it is. Yo. What's happening? Good morning. Thank goodness it's Friday. Friday, February 25th, 2022. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Hey. What's going on, y'all? Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning, coming at you. Hey. Thanks for joining us. This is First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Morning.
Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. All of you, we got a good morning, good Friday morning squad and fam from Pops.
Squad.
Junior Ignacio Sanchez says, I got time today. All right. Judy Princess says, good morning, fam. Good morning, Judy. How you doing? Look at Black Dynamite over here on Twitch talking about good morning, fellas. I got to catch you on Twitch for a little bit today. That's what's up.
Hey, we twitching today.
Yep. Usually we get 0.5 views on Twitch. And now we got 1.5. That's what's up, man. What's going on, Black Dynamite?
I will say I did check the other day, and we got around 60 or so subscribers on YouTube. So that's going up.
Yeah, if you're on the YouTube channel, definitely subscribe. If you're not on the YouTube channel, subscribe to First Sky Omaha YouTube. Appreciate you.
Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself.
Got a good morning from Brooke Rodriguez. What's happening? Cameron Snipes, put some respect on her name. Good morning, y'all. We need to talk to you today about what you did yesterday.
Yeah, thank you.
First-hand information from the legislature, so I'd love to hear that. Amy Huffler says, good morning, familia. What's happening?
Hey.
Good morning. All right, they're coming in. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. That's what's up.
Rolling on in. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to a fresh Friday edition of First Sky Omaha. Made it through another week. Here surviving. So yeah, welcome. How you doing this morning, Paul?
Not too bad. End of the week doesn't really feel like the end of the week. Lots still going on, especially at the theater. That means you kind of rolling all through the weekend with the shows. So yeah, we got stuff that we got going on down there. Some private events and things happening this weekend. So yeah, it's gonna be an even longer week. But
that's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, if you say so.
Make that argument, I guess. How you doing this fine Friday?
I'm all right, man. For some reason, really couldn't sleep last night, so I'm kind of tired, kind of rested. As I mentioned, I moved into a new spot, and I'm learning that my neighbors have a chicken or a rooster or something. Yeah, man. I'm talking all hours of the night, all hours of the day. Whoever said chickens and roosters just roost during the crack of dawn lied. They lied.
Yeah, that's no fun, bro. That's no fun.
No, it seems like there's no rhyme or reason to this rooster's rooting.
In Hawaii, roosters run around free like dogs, like a pack of dogs or stray cats. They run the streets of Hawaii. So yeah, all through the night, not just the crack of dawn.
Man.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool.
Man. And I'm so confused. I'm waking up like, is it what time is it? Like what is this chicken talking about? It's not even on the hour. It's like 3:37 in the morning.
The rooster ain't standing there looking at his watch talking about 8:59. Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool.
Man, I need him to figure it out, whatever's going on, man, because I could not sleep last night.
Brooke says my first night on Kauai, I got woken up by a rooster at 4 a.m. That's what I'm saying. Be walking down your house, walking by your house, making lots of noise. So yeah, you got some wildlife at the house there. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Also, I was thinking about moving into a new spot. I always am up for like the first week, listening to all the creaks and cracks and the sounds of the house.
To be honest, it's a part of that too, man. The other night, I jumped up in the middle of the night, like almost knocked a drink over on the nightstand because I thought the house was on fire. Turned out it's just my closet light. Yeah, it's that. My wife's like, well, at least I know if something happens, you'll be ready. You'll be ready, man. Yeah, so it's definitely some of that unease of being in a new spot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the day where I can get a full night's rest.
I heard that. I was also had a little hard night sleeping last night too. That's because of the thoughts of nuclear war in my head.
Nuclear war. We might have to play that Sun Ra.
Yeah, man, for real.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. We just want to jump in the chat real quick. It's going off pretty good. Brooks says OPS ended the school mask mandate. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about some masks today because a lot of things ended in a lot of places. Kimmer Snipes says there were people in my neighborhood in South Omaha. They had chickens and roosters just roaming the neighborhood. FYI, chicken story just made my day.
Hey, hey, I'm just letting y'all know the truth of what I'm dealing with. It's nice to know that y'all can resonate with that. But Black Dynamite, he got the idea, man. He said put him in check, let him know you got the flour and the hot grease waiting.
Hey, come on now. We got it happening. We got it happening.
Hey, I ain't afraid to pluck some feathers. I ain't afraid to pluck some feathers.
Yeah, that's what I ain't about it all. I'll eat the meat, but I ain't killing nothing. Somebody else gonna have to do the killing around her.
I feel it.
Pop says every rooster I've ever experienced is an insomniac.
I'm saying, like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Like, are you not sleeping? What?
Josh Tays gives us a good morning and happy Friday. Appreciate it. Hey. Amy Huffler says it's a normal sound in Puerto Rico. I heard that blends in sort of. It felt like that in Hawaii. After a while, I got used to it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Mama God says good morning, first fam. What's happening?
Hey, my dukes.
Brooke said Dad used to have chickens. I think. Did he? I didn't know that.
I'll say when I was growing up, I used to stay off of like Heinball, kind of by Belvedere Elementary School. Mm-hmm. There's some people down the street with us that had ducks. That was interesting. Yeah, they had a pond, like a small, maybe 5 by 5 pond in their front yard with ducks in it.
America is funny with their land around their house, ain't they?
Yeah.
Go to the park and see the ducks. My great grandfather over there, when he lived over there off of John Creighton Boulevard, he used to have me walk around the corner to the lady's house and get some fresh eggs. She had a whole pen back there.
Right, I will say that. That thought did cross my mind. Like, I wouldn't mind raising some chickens. There's actually a lot of artists and people going into the farming and purchasing of land. It's a thought. Definitely with all this food.
I'll just buy it from them,
I don't know, man. The chicken price is going up. I might have to raise my own roosters around here.
I got some chicken from Wingstop, and they ain't even got wings no more. You got to buy thighs because the wings is too expensive.
Yeah, you didn't see Rick Ross had the whole commercial is thigh stop now. Because chicken prices are that astronomical. I'm telling you, Black Dynamite might be on to something. I might have to sneak into the backyard. Whip up some yard bird.
All right, you go ahead, Brother Muhammad on here in a minute. Leave that yard bird alone. Pop says, man, you better leave those roosters alone. I've been attacked by a Great Dane and by a rooster. The rooster was worse. He says, not me, but mom and dad had several chickens, so we had fresh eggs every morning. Yeah, I heard that. They stink. That's what I'm talking about. Beasts of the field, Miss Erica Felt. Mama God says my neighbors had chickens when they first moved in, but no cock-a-doodle do anymore. I think they ate them.
Oh man. Actually, yeah. No, actually, yes. I know exactly what Mom's is talking about. There were Burmese? I forget which country the refugees come from. I forget which. I think it's either Burma, Myanmar, one of those countries. But yes, they definitely had a flock of chickens, and yes, that flock of chickens is definitely not there anymore.
That's one thing I like about living in Omaha. I love living next to the African people. What y'all got over there? What you doing? What you cooking?
Get you some fufu.
Africans be putting it down, boy. Love it. It is coming up on 7:10 already. You guys are in the house already. I really appreciate it. Brooke said thigh stop. I do love me some thighs though. Waterloo says shortage on chicken wings. For real, man. I tried to get smoking Doja wings and things, and he gave me a plate with some ribs on it. I was like, where the wings, man? He said too expensive.
Man, it's a spot here that's called Zaxby's. So good, I'll call it Cracksby's. But I can't go that often because they sell chicken wings. It's like fast food chicken wings, but it's fire. But it's expensive. Yeah.
$30 for some wings a day.
Man, you ain't far off. You ain't far off.
Miss Erica Fell says, my godmother lives in Portland. Grandmother lives in Portland and has chickens. It's hella funny to me in her itty bitty yard. She calls them her little ladies. What you having for lunch today? Some little ladies. Heard that.
Hey, Ma Duke's Cornish hen recipe. I'm telling you, nothing like it. Nothing like it. So yeah, there's my whole chicken story. I didn't expect it to lead to this, but there are the chat chimers are always ready to chime in to whatever chat we're having here. So
there you go. I like how Von Chapman's trying to go ahead and tie it in to the stories today. Good morning. We about to have nuclear Putin exploding roosters. Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Oh, cock-a-doodle boom.
We got a good morning from Allie Peeler. Good morning, friends. Stacey Jean says, good morning, First Sky Omaha family and friends. Thank you for everybody that's chiming in the chat. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to talk about today. Unfortunately, I try to tell y'all the conversation about the actual war coming up, and here we are in the last couple of days. He didn't invaded.
Nuclear war. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Not only did they invade, but they're in of all places, Chernobyl.
What you gonna do? I mean, if those of you who are older like me lived through the whole news of Chernobyl, you're like, what is he doing back in Chernobyl? But getting his soldiers radiated. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today and jump into the show.
Yeah, because that's just one thing of the many things that we're going to be talking about. Definitely have to get into the mask situation. Somebody mentioned that earlier, and not only is OPS doing away with their mask mandate, Lincoln also considering getting away with their mask mandate, but all of that would be for naught because the Biden administration is looking to do some things on a national level when it comes to masks. So we'll talk about that. Also, there's some updates in regards to police brutality cases. Of course, the second wave of the second trial of the I forget the officer's name, but the 3 officers that stood by while George Floyd lost his life, they have found out their fate. Again, that trial has concluded, so we'll look into that. And then also Colin Kaepernick is speaking up. He actually has an idea about how to assist with dealing with these types of situations of police brutality and things like that. So we'll talk about that. Also, it is Friday, so we try to keep it light to some extent. Actually, Omaha's own and friend of the film, talk about Mario Cobino, lead singer of The Temptations. Yeah, they're still doing it, still celebrating.
6 decades later.
Man, hey, longevity has its place, man. So we'll talk about that coming up. And as always, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds, definitely feel free to chime into the chat, join the conversation. Also, get your questions ready. As we mentioned on Wednesday, we will be having the likes of Shannon Harner in the studio with us talking about homeowners. She's with the Homeowners Association and also involved in NIFA. So again, if you have any housing questions, especially about buying property and becoming a homeowner, hey, get them ready. We're here for the next 2 hours. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Let's go.
Yo. Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich is going down right now. All of you, the chat chimers, thanks for joining us this Friday, February the 25th, 2022. Man, they're going off in the chat still. Josh Chase says Naughty Buddha has that vegan chicken and it's a bomb. Okay, that's what's up. Bon Chapman said, oh, we already talked about the exploding roosters. Pop says his mom and dad call the chickens the girls too. Okay, that's what's up. Brother Sanchez, Mayor Sanchez says, I don't believe none of the news stories, none of the Facebook shares and videos in Ukraine, none of it. Okay, tell us why. Also, he's on his third burner account over there at YouTube. If you're on the YouTube channel, then give us a like and a share. And if you're on Facebook, share the show so we can get as many people talking about this as we can. Those of you over on the radio channel, thank you very much for tuning in over there. FirstSkyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, and it's going down. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us again. Mama God in the house says Mario, my man. So he need to put together a major Omaha tour, one with a bigger turnout than Kevin Hart's August concert. That's right. We're gonna talk about Mario, man. Him making the lead singer of the Temptations. That's what's up. Star Trek Rich says it's speculated Russia took Chernobyl because it has the most direct path to the Ukraine capital, Kiev.
Yeah, try to surround it.
Yep. So interesting. Also, we were speculating maybe he's looking for some uranium over there too.
That cake.
Yeah, man. So lots to talk about today. Tell us what's on your mind today. Definitely want to hear about it. It's been on my mind. We look at local news a lot here, but sometimes world news is too big to ignore. So, and this is the being on the verge of World War III. I hope that's not what we really are looking at, but I'm sure it's on everybody's mind. So let us know what you think of this situation here. We got some stuff to talk about a little later on about how this war would affect us. So lots to talk about, and give us your thoughts on what you think is happening there.
And also, if you're having a little trouble, kind of keeping up with the storyline or figuring out exactly what's going on, there's some pretty interesting explainers out there that we like to get into as well. I know there was a viral TikTok video, but there's also a post that kind of breaks it down in the terms of a toxic relationship between Russia and Ukraine that I definitely wanted to read off to the people. So we'll definitely get into that a little bit. But before we get into that, before we get into anything international, there's a lot of things happening domestically that we have to talk about. And one of the big things, of course, that we've been dealing with over the last 2 years is the pandemic. Yeah, man. It seems like, I would definitely love to hear from the people, love to hear from the chat chimers with your thoughts and where you are with this. But it just seems like everybody woke up one day and collectively decided, you know what, it's all right. We're done with this. We're beyond this point. That's just what it seems like. And this latest decision from Omaha Public Schools is kind of going along with that idea. Just recently, Omaha Public Schools staff and students will no longer be required to wear masks following the school board's approval of an updated policy just yesterday. The policy makes masks optional in all district buildings starting today. Of course, there were several people who spoke during public comment, both in support and opposition of the decision. Also, while OPS is making this decision, Lincoln is considering easing their mask mandate. Again, Lincoln has been one of the most adamant organizations, body politics, if you will, throughout the state to actually issue a mask mandate, even in the face of Governor Ricketts' stark opposition to imposing a mask mandate. But it doesn't just stop there. It looks like this might be a national trend. As reported by the GRIO, the Biden administration is also looking to significantly ease pandemic mask guidelines starting today. The Biden administration will significantly loosen federal mask wearing guidelines to protect against COVID-19 transmission starting today. That's according to two people familiar with the matter, meaning most Americans will no longer be advised to wear masks in indoor public settings. A large part of this is sort of the trend, if you will, of the COVID variants, sort of towards the end of viral variants and viral changes, you see higher infections, but the death toll starts to slow down. People can get it, but again, it's not as deadly. And I see Brooks saying people are still dying. Yes, which is why I wanted to bring this to the people, because although it does seem like it's slowing down, hospital numbers are somewhat stabilizing. Is it too soon? What does everyone think about this?
Yeah, it's a good thing. Let's definitely put it to the chat. See what you think. Miss Erica Felt says masks will be back next fall. Like I was telling people earlier on, for me, masks is going to be part of the thing for me for a while. Like, especially if, just it's more so like how many people are out here right now? Am I surrounded by? How long do I need to be exposed? It's a good question, because you got to think about where what they're pushing for is for. I don't know if they're pushing for this, but I think that what people are starting to think is that this is going to be like the flu, where it's something that we're going to have to continue to deal with every year. There's still people that die of the flu, but they don't make whole mandates for wearing masks and stuff like that during flu season. They try to push to get a flu shot. So I don't know. Brooks says someone in our family just died from COVID 2 weeks ago, and they were vaccinated. Miss Eric Fell says, my son's father was just released from the hospital about a week ago after being there for 2 months. My son grabbed the mask this morning.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, for some people, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, for some people, it kind of can't really. People with underlying conditions and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's probably something that should have been done before. Every flu season. They probably should have been asking people to wear masks when they go out. It's just it was too weird of a thing when there wasn't COVID. But maybe this is the tipping point here. Wanda Lewis says, consider the fact that some are testing at home. We have no actual statistics.
And that's the kind of the scariest part of this. Like what statistic or what type of barometer are you using to dictate where we are in this whole situation? Remember, Nebraska hasn't really been fully reporting its numbers all, for close to a year now.
It's very true.
I mean, according to this Grill article, the CDC on Friday will announce a change to its metrics, to the metrics that it uses to determine whether to recommend face covering, shifting from looking at COVID-19 case counts to a more holistic view of risk from the coronavirus to a community. Under current guidelines, masks are recommended for people residing in communities of substantial or high transmission, which equals roughly 95% of U.S. counties. That's according to the latest data. But again, the new metrics will still consider caseloads, hospitalizations, local hospital capacity, which have all been markedly improved since the emergence of the Omicron variant. So again, what barometer do you use? How do you go about this?
Yeah.
How do you measure?
Von Chapman says, trust your mask, not the politics. Also, Miss Erica Fell says, my son wearing a mask won't help him. He said that's okay. He won't be the reason someone else gets it. We actually did a report where they figured out that it also helps you as well to wear the mask slightly. It is for the most part for other people. You don't spread it if you have it. Pop says, when it comes to unmasking, I just don't get it. It's like a boxer who starts to win a fight, so he decides to completely drop his guard, then gets knocked out. Yeah. Are they going to ever declare we're not in a pandemic? What are the statistics and the numbers there? J.R. Ignacio said something a little earlier on another subject. He said, it's easy to make fake videos or have stock videos. The government is feeding us what they want us to see. Sometimes I feel like that about COVID stats.
Man, you just don't know.
You kind of don't know. Like he just said, trust the mask. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Tamika Johnson says, my barometer is contraction rate. Well, yeah, I guess we can get some data on that. It ain't going to be 100% true data, but it'll be enough to decide whether or not you want to wear a mask when you go out. Like I said, from what I've been doing is like, if I'm in a place there's a whole lot of people, that mask is coming out.
I will say though, and we'll get into this a little bit later with the Russia situation. But there's an element on how this may impact us, as far as hacking, and I wonder, how Russia and China, because those are the two countries where a lot of the hacking attacks and cyber attacks have been tied to, either Russia or China. If these operatives get into our hospital systems, if they get into some of the systems that maintain this data, how will we really know? And also a lot of misinformation campaigns that are out on social media, or out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, things like that, have also been tied to these foreign countries. So how much of that is impacting, how we view the pandemic as well?
Well, one thing I will say, I agree with Mayor Sanchez here. Hospital capacity will let you know. I've been definitely looking at how many that news about how many free beds there are in the hospital and all that kind of stuff. I definitely have friends that are nurses and stuff like that. They tell us about whether or not they're getting overloaded with patients. So we definitely have other places that we get information from and try to make some determinations there. Kimmer Snipes says free test at the Washington Branch Library, by the way. That's what's up.
Okay, there you go.
Chrissy Norris said the health department has a way to report home tests. Okay, we got to tell us how that is, because I'm not sure. I know that they're giving out a bunch. We just order some for ourselves. And so maybe, they're keeping track of who orders what. But yeah, how are they reporting home tests? Tamika Johnson says my barometer's contraction rate. Yeah, how many people are getting it? Brother Sanchez says my daughter is having a baby shower in 2 weeks, and on the invite she asked for people to wear masks. Yeah, I asked for people to show me proof of vaccination wearing masks or something like that, because still under 5 is not all the way protected, and there are kids that are catching it.
Yeah, so I don't know what percentage of them are passing. That'd be kind of interesting to look into. But yeah, I mean, nobody really knows the full picture of what's going on, and I think that's the scariest part. Even in with these, it just seems like, and I guess that's a big thing to me. Why I wanted to bring this conversation up, and why I thought this was so interesting, that this move is being made, because the data isn't really out there as far as like getting the full picture. So how are people just making this decision?
And how are people feeling about it? Like, are you over it? You stop wearing your mask because you're tired of it? You over it? Like, there's no, ain't nobody trying to shame you if that's what you're doing. But let us know. Are you done wearing the mask? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some situations I'm like, I've been finding myself, if I'm sitting in a room or working with people or somewhere, I got a mask on all day and I get to be like tired of breathing out this thing. I might go take a walk or go outside or do something, give myself a little break. You know what I'm saying? And then for a minute there, I'm just like, man, I'm sick of this thing, sometimes. But yeah, so I kind of want to figure out, like, what are you guys feeling about that, about the pandemic in general? Are we past it? I mean, it's understandable if you feel that way. If you passed it, you're over it, or humans find a different way of dealing with it. Like I said, the way that we are just fine with people dying of the flu every year. How did that get to be normal? How did that get to be a thing? Pop says the Japanese as a people have been routinely wearing masks anytime they have a cold. If we adopted that attitude, America would not be leading in the world in infectious deaths.
Yeah. I mean, just due to sheer air quality, wear masks in some countries.
Well, in the density, their cities are a whole lot more dense than ours.
True.
So they're packed in with each other all the time, and figured that out a long time ago. I remember Michael Jackson went over to do concerts in Japan in the 80s, and he came back on the plane with a mask on, and everybody laughed at him in like 85.
There you go. There you go.
Miss Erica Fell says, I make handymen and contractors wear masks. Some have lost my business because they refused. Can you imagine coming to somebody's house to do some work and refuse to wear a mask? Not only are you going to wear a mask in my house, you're going to take your shoes off. A whole bunch of stuff. Right. You're going to just walk off. Also, Kimmer Snipe says, I tend to value human experience. I'll continue to wear my mask. That's what's up. Black Dynamite said, hospital bed status numbers are skewed. Unfortunately, they report the hospital are full, but what they really mean to say is there's a staffing issue. And if you don't have the staff, you don't have the beds.
That's what I was thinking of. As far as using, hospital capacity as a barometer, how accurate is that? Because, how we already know that there's a high number of nurse burnout. A lot of nurses are taking breaks, quitting. how does that impact the capacity of a hospital? Is it really the number of beds, or is it the number of staff available?
Right. If you're just joining us, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It is Friday the 25th, 2022, and 7:30. If you believe in the concept of time, or you're keeping track of it because you got something to do. If you're just joining us, we're speaking a little bit about what you guys think about masks and the pandemic in general. Are we over it? Are we past it? Are we tired of it? Are we still going to continue to wear masks, even though they've now dropped the requirement to wear masks? It's now supposed to be voluntary across the country. Or do you have a business that you're going to require people to wear masks? They tried to call me out a couple of days ago about the Benson Theater being a place where you have to show proof of vaccination and masks and wear a mask. A lot of people in our friends have decided not to take the shot. So, how have you who have not taken the shot decided to kind of move in the world? Do you still wear masks? Do you stay away from big crowds? What do you do? Von Chapman in the chat says capitalism needs a victim to be successful. Don't be a victim. I hear that. Let me go up a little bit. Brooke says everybody hates wearing it, but you got to do what you got to do. Brother Sanchez says never passed it. I continue to have my mask available when needed. Yeah, I'm always going to carry one at the very least. Amy Hupfler says, based on COVID hospitalizations and capacity. That's what you base it on. I like that. I like that idea that Black Dynamite becomes you don't have a bed if you don't have a nurse to staff that bed. So are we getting a clear indication of how many beds are full?
I actually think not.
Well, like I said, I got friends that are nurses that are saying that the hospital's full, or not. Times that it's not full. So I guess we're all kind of pulling our info from a bunch of different places. Tamika Johnson says, I consider this stats to be worse than what's actually reported. Yeah, I kind of err on that side myself. Brooke says nurses are getting COVID too. So now Patterson says, hi, y'all. How you doing? Thank you for joining us this morning. Mr. Eric Phil says, yep, my business, my rules. That's right. You don't come in and you tell somebody you got to wear a mask and you come in and they say no. Peace. We'll call another contractor. Brooke says, what about airlines? Are they dropping the mask mandate with the airlines? I don't think so. I think airlines are keeping that.
That question was presented in the Grio article that talked about the Biden administration's decision, and I think a lot of those major corporations are waiting on the CDC to update their policy, and if the CDC changes, then I think some major corporations will follow suit. But not yet.
Good morning to Terry Crawford. She says, good morning. Proceed with caution, follow the science, and protect your health.
There you go.
Mr. Eric Phelps, if I do decide to do away with masks, children who have basic symptoms will be wearing masks. I have to write out the details and will present the updated policy to clients on Monday. So you got to kind of give clients, you got to change your policy according to what you decide there. And of course, we know you're going to err on the side of safety for the children. So Tanaya Patterson said, keeping distance. This is what I'm talking about. Like we don't talk about 6 feet no more. We talk about masks and we talk about the shot, but we don't talk about keeping distance. She said, keeping distance, keeping a mask, but I'm not getting the vaccine, because Tanaya Patterson is one that decides not to get it. So that's how you move. If you don't have the vaccine, you keep distance and wear the mask all the time.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have not gotten the vaccine either.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've not gotten the vaccine either. But I don't go many new places. I go to the same handful of places, the studio I work at, with the same 2 people.
Which is kind of isolated situation for you.
Yeah, it's definitely. I am still wearing masks, and all the things that you can control as far as washing hands, distancing, things like that.
Brother Muhammad, if you're on listening, let us know too. What's what has been said in your teachings about this, and why certain people decided not to. Like to know. Brother Rich says hospitals may get worse if they decide to cap salaries of traveling nurses. Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know they were trying to cap salaries. I know some nurses that are making bank traveling to other states. That's interesting. Capping. They're going to cap the salaries. That's cold. Wanda Lewis says those airlines have recycled air. I mean, I used to. I'm forever. I don't care what they do with the airlines. I'm forever wearing a mask. That I finally flew this last time. The last time that I flew, and you were required to wear a mask the whole flight. This is the first time I ever got off the plane and wasn't sick for the next 2 days.
Sheesh.
I mean, I'm talking about before COVID and before everything. I would always get sick
somehow, some way,
breathing that recycled air on the plane and sitting with them. I'm from the era of give me 50 feet, so I always been a fan of keeping my space.
That was my Duke song. Give me 50 feet. Hey.
Brooke says the kids definitely aren't socially distancing at school, so that concerns me now that they don't have to wear masks anymore. I don't think they was really wearing their mask all the way in the first place at school.
Yeah.
And snatching it off and running around the playground. Tamika Johnson says, still masking, still distancing, still hand washing, got vaccinated but not boosted, willing to get vaccinated annually. Okay. Like just like a flu shot. Mm-hmm. Amy Huffler says, yes, same, forever will mask on airplanes. Bro, that's just a given now. I'm going to wear a 90 on the plane every time.
Man.
95.
Yeah. I can't tell you the last time I rode a plane.
Really?
It's been a couple years.
Okay. So it's been before the pandemic then.
I think I may have taken a flight early in the pandemic.
That's it.
I have to think about it.
We got first world problems over here. You trying to remember when you took a flight. I think I flew. Mama Guy said, recently talked to friends whose daughters are nurses. They are getting job offers for $80 an hour to $150 an hour for 6 months. One is considering another flat decline. Too much, she said. Furthermore, nurses call in to not report to work in record numbers with no consequences.
Yeah. Again, burnout is a real thing right now. So I wonder how that is impacting the capacity of the hospital.
Yeah. Ceci Jean says, I don't think I'll ever give up my mask. Hey, it's part of the outfit now, bro. That's all there is to it for me. It's gonna be in the pocket or part of the outfit. You have to coordinate. I got to coordinate my mask.
The new norm.
Miss Erica Phelps says, exactly. I was worried about spending my first and only gateway to Chicago sick because I'm always sick after a flight, and felt great after being masked. I will forever mask on a plane. It's gonna be masks on a plane from now on, man. That's what's up. Let's move on from this. Wanda Lewis, one more says, I've read articles that says that people continue to get boosters, that it will lower your immune system to the point where your body depends on shots and won't be able to fight off infection on its own.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's a fine balance though, bro, because if you get too sick, you know what I'm saying? If you get too sick without it, then you got to kind of assess that stuff for yourself.
I will say, speaking of that, my diet changed. I eat about 2 or 3 oranges a day.
This is what we need to be talking about for real.
Yeah, I eat 2 or 3 oranges a day. Drink aloe vera a lot of elderberry. Do a lot of steams. So I'll like steam some cinnamon, orange peels, rosemary, things like that. Just breathe in that steam. Anytime I get a head cold or any of that, not playing any of those games. So that part too is definitely something that should be talked about more.
When we talk about COVID, I feel like from now on, because of the fact that we've been talking about this all year, the way that we have, I really want to incorporate the idea that what this pandemic has taught us is that those of us that have really bad diets and pre-existing conditions and everything else are suffering the most. Yeah, and we need to get back to talking about the food as medicine, food as a cure, changing lifestyle, changing diet, moving. Getting out and moving a little bit, doing all the things to kind of keep in shape, because those of us that wasn't in shape was laying up in the hospital hard, if not passed away.
Man.
So they were saying how this was hitting black folks really hard in the beginning. Well, it had a lot to do with our diet and so on and so forth. So I think that should be heavy in the conversation now, man. Washing hands, keeping distance, wearing masks, eating better, exercising.
All of that.
Let's take a quick break and come back. I see the chat's going off. Go back and definitely check out what's being said there. We still have the question out there. How do you feel about what's going on with the pandemic? Are you over it? Are you done with the masks? Are you going to keep on wearing masks? Seems like the majority in our group are like masks for life.
Man,
got to coordinate with your outfit.
Got to coordinate.
Got to coordinate. It's going down. Listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Special guest coming up. Stick around for that. Also, if you're on Facebook, share the show so more people can check it out. Appreciate you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. That's not what I was trying to do. Hold on.
Okay. I mean, I know the people enjoy the intro, but come on.
All right, press the wrong button there. Just want to give a shout out to people that the new members, people that have signed up to be reoccurring members. Really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Shout out to Senator Carol Blood. Put some respect on her name, her endorsement. Also, Brother Muhammad's endorsement. He always goes around and tells people, go ahead and do the $10 a month, even if you don't watch it every day. But go ahead and do it so we can keep this conversation going. So I appreciate you guys advocating for us and helping us to grow our membership. That's what we got to do so we can keep this going. So FirstSkyOmaha.com, hit the donate button if you're so inclined. Become a reoccurring member of this channel here so we can make sure we keep this going and do some big things here coming up, especially in the summertime. Got some events and things that we're planning, so get ready for that. We are back, first of all, for 7:42. If you believe in the concept of time, First Sky Omaha Radio, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you on this Friday, the 25th, 2022. What y'all got going on this weekend, man? Let us know. We'll definitely do the haps a little later on in the show. And if you have some haps about some stuff going on this weekend, let us know. It's supposed to warm up a little bit. It was 1 degree when I came in here this morning. Uno, sir, 1 degree.
I mean, that's better than negative
middle finger up. Show that one. Well, I guess it's not much.
Somebody said y'all guys are actually getting snow out there.
Yeah, we got a little snow the other day. It was a little dusting. Got a little dusting. I know what to call it. I got the terminology now. We got some dust. We got some dusting.
Some flurries.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So it is what it is.
That's actually not what's up, but stay warm out there, y'all.
Yeah. It's supposed to warm up this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. A cool 40. A California winter.
Hey, it's gonna feel like a nice 60 after the days y'all done had.
You running around in shorts. You guys are going off on the looks like lots of vegetables things, the soft detergent and cleaners. Okay, you guys are talking about all kinds of stuff in the chat here.
J.R. Ignacio Sanchez, I was gonna make that comment or reply to your comment before we went to break. He talking about if he ever gets cancer, he's gonna go vegan. You're supposed to do that before, bro. Like you gotta be preemptive,
preventative measures.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of preventative measures, let's keep it moving, man.
Yep.
Because there are some bills that we got to prevent, some things we got to get ahead of. And I do want to give a big shout out to a couple of the friends of First Sky, a couple of the chat chimers who answered the call, man, stepped up to the bell, if you will. Definitely Miss Kimera Snipes, put some respect on her name, live chatting and updating at the Nebraska legislature yesterday, giving us a glimpse into what's going on down on the floor. Yeah. So again, if you're one of the ones who are in attendance or who at least tuned in, definitely please let us know. Please let us know what your takeaway from that was. And of course, there were several bills being discussed, but one we would like to discuss here, of course, is this anti-critical race theory bill. Looks like got a cool reception, according to the headline. The bill known as Nebraska's Anti-Critical Race Theory Bill got a cool reception at a legislative hearing Thursday. Students, teachers, and representatives of higher education were among 40 people who testified against the bill. Many like Sandra Gable, who's a high school teacher for 34 years, expressed concern the bill would prevent teaching an accurate history of America that included all of its blemishes. Yes, y'all, the good and the bad. Gable
and
said
the
the
ugly.
bill, yeah, man. The Gable said the bill is an attempt to whitewash or even rewrite American history. The bill also opposes everything that I've spent my life doing and learning and teaching, she says. 3 people testified in favor of LB 1077 during a 3.5-hour hearing before the legislature's Government, Military, and Veterans Affairs Committee. However, the bill doesn't specifically mention CRT, which is quite interesting. Rather than banning it outright, the bill takes an anti-discrimination approach, targeting the concerns that critics raise about the theory. It would allow teaching about the country's checkered past on racism and allow institutions and schools to advocate for inclusivity, but with limits. The bill will prohibit public schools, colleges, and government entities from training teachers, students, or employees that training promoted race or sex scapegoating, stereotyping, or discrimination. If schools or colleges were found to violate the law, the state could withhold funding. So, and to break it down for what it is, anything that's pointing to rich, wealthy, European descendant males is not okay.
Yeah. That's rough. Von Chapman in the chat says, "Good morning. Yesterday I joined in and had a distinct opportunity and pleasure to listen and enjoy the Zoom meeting regarding ARPA funding." He's wrote a diatribe here, so we got to go back and read that. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. I'm not going to read the whole thing during the show here, but we're still trying to find out about what's going on with this ARPA funding. As far as this thing is concerned, I noticed that Kimra Snipes, put some respect on her name, went up there. She said, "Here in Lincoln with my colleague to testify against LB 1077. Our children deserve and are owed the opportunity to learn all history, not just selective bits and pieces." Okay. And in the chat here, she's saying, "I have lots of thoughts, but I'm driving back from Lincoln right now. I was there kind of late, so
drive safely.
Don't know. Yeah, drive safe. Don't know how much you're going to be able to say." But she said, "But shouts out to Carol Blood, put some respect on her name. People underestimate the value in being able to ask the right questions. She asked the right questions. Can't wait to hear what she had to ask for sure." Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, and again, thank you very much for going out there and representing. We definitely are grateful that you were able to take that trek, go see what's happening, speak up. Can't wait to hear about it. Maybe we'll have you on another day and you can kind of break down what was said and the questions that Carol Blood asked and so on and so forth. Love to hear about it.
She is commented and quoted, in this article, and she lays it on him, man. It's quite a doozy. She says, "If I were a person of color, if I were a person with a disability, if I were a person who has struggled because of how I identify, where I come from, how I look, I might be insulted by this," suggesting that the bill actually does not take in consideration those people's perspective and actually suggests that those diverse perspectives are not important, which is a very, very interesting take on that.
Yeah, man. Come on, Beer of Blood. Do that.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's what's up. Any more thoughts on this? Let us know. Put them in the chat if you have any thoughts on this bill. We are going to have the senators on, Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne, put some respect on their names at some point. I know it's always hard to get them during sessions, and we usually have to wait till it's over in order to be able to kind of talk to them and review, but we are planning on having them over. Chris Ignore says, these old white men are scared their grandchildren or great-grandchildren will see them in the pictures of the civil rights movement.
Yeah. I mean, then you'll have sort of the similar situation that we saw with Trump's niece writing tell-all books. And some of those family dinners might make a little bit more sense once they figure out what's really going on.
Yeah, I feel sorry for my white brothers and sisters that are out here dealing with their families and stuff at these particular times. They got some turmoil, much needed, but you got to rock the boat.
So. Yeah, I mean, you remember it was already happening last year, or really throughout 2020, with the Black Lives Matter movement and the protests and the Freedom Summer situation. A lot of the students and a lot of the young people who are a part of those protests were going back to their family dinners, kicking up dust and really calling out their parents and aunts and uncles, like, what are y'all doing about this? Or why haven't y'all talked about this and taught me about this more? Asking those questions, like you said, that need to be asked. But I am kind of curious, Paul, you're the one who brought this to our attention as far as CRT and the perspective that it is really not what they're making it seem, and it's kind of more of a boogeyman buzzword than an actual theory that's being considered. What are your thoughts about the actual CRT not actually being in the bill? Like the term CRT is not in the bill.
I mean, it has to be acknowledged that it's not a thing, and the focus being brought on exactly what they are actually trying to ban. I don't know what I think about it. Not the term not being in the bill.
Yeah, I have to agree with my man Josh. He says the bill is ridiculous.
Yeah, simple and plain. And I like that they got some pushback. So we'll see, man. They're really trying to pull out of the stops. Like we said, CRT, critical race theory, isn't a thing. It's not a thing that's being taught. There doesn't need to be any laws or any bills that prevent something that's already not happening to not happen. It's a smokescreen. They're really just trying to call everything that talks about the real history. They're trying to, or anybody else's culture, or anybody else's sexuality. They're trying to pin that all on critical race theory. I think when that woman stood up there and said, "We critical race theory will teach you about masturbation," it sounds so far fetched. But if everybody is tying all this stuff up with what it is that you can or can't or will or won't teach in school, which is really the goal here, is to open up to be able to have some white flight in schools again, segregate up schools. They want to pull their kids out so that they don't have to learn certain things and so on and so forth. And some of them things have to do with LGBTQ community. Some of them things have to do with the history, the real history, 1619, race. All these are all grouped into one thing. So I can see it. Don't now that I understand that that's the case, it don't sound so far fetched when this woman is attaching. You're going to be learning sexual behaviors with critical race theory. They just are grouping everything up in the CRT. So the fact that it's not a thing, and the fact that it's a smokescreen, and the fact that they're really just trying to ban a bunch of stuff.
It's a boogeyman.
Yeah. Let's see. Wanda Lewis says that they're trying to speak it into existence. Yeah. They're trying to just find a catchphrase that they can just throw all the stuff in. Mr. Fell says, I think they're being more honest, but by not using the inappropriate term.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a thing.
So why would they put the thing that's not a thing in the bill?
Judy Prinzer says Florida House passes controversial "Don't Say Gay" bill. The bill would prohibit schools from discussing sexual orientation or gender identity with. That's what I mean. Like, to me, when they're talking about CRT, that's what they're talking about. That woman, I'm glad she stood up and said that. First of all, we got a good laugh out of it. Second of all, we was like, how ridiculous. But third of all, it's a clue into what they're actually thinking CRT is. They're grouping all this stuff together. Sexual orientation, race, anything that's something that's different than these other values that they are saying.
Going against Christian values. Let's just call it what it is. Conservative Christian values is what they're trying to uphold.
Mr. Eric says Mexican American history is something they don't want taught. All these groups are easier to dog if they're not known to be American heroes.
Yeah, man.
They don't. Yeah, there's a fight against language stuff. There's a fight against there's just a fight all the time about what it is that we need to be learning in schools. Right there in what is it? Who wrote those articles about the kids that stood up and wanted to learn about the people that were coming into the country that were sitting right next to them? Was this in Elkhorn or Can't remember. It was somewhere out west. Millard, I think the Millard school district. Kids were asking for information on their fellow classmates, and they were really bucking against teaching other cultures, and they had to fight for that.
Like the students were trying to learn about some of the refugees that were coming into their class and joining the community, and the school was just not having it. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Mr. Eckerfeld says, Judy Prinzer, we already did away with don't ask, don't tell. Wanda Lewis says it's a conflict when it comes to pathways education that they want to put in place. Pathways education.
Yeah, the Pathways program that they're trying to implement in OPS.
Right. Interesting. We had to dig more into that.
Yeah. I wonder, like, what type of pathways are they, suggesting, what are offering? I'm kind of interested to see how those two things interact.
So as far as this bill is concerned, I guess we need to figure out what to do next. Is there going to be any more hearings? Does anybody know about any more hearings on this?
So there are some more hearings, and from a few legislators, they feel like it's not going to go anywhere. Actually, Senator Matt Hansen, the real Matt Hansen, said the bill is probably not going to go anywhere this year.
No, that's not the real Matt Hansen. That's the fake. Fake Matt Hansen.
He said the bill did not get designated a priority bill, and the session is short, so it might not even be enough time in the session for this bill to reach the full and to get through the full process to become law.
Okay. Wanda Lewis says it's a conflict when it comes to, we just talked about pathways. Terry Crawford says it's use of the same ambiguous and evasive language that convinced Omaha citizens we didn't need affirmative action. At the state level by couching it in a non-discrimination language to give the false appearance of a beneficial purpose. Be mindful, y'all. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it basically is the same mentality that any assistance, any leg up, any help towards anybody is a discrimination against, white people, quote unquote. Like in anything that helps any other group, if white people aren't getting a piece of it, then it's reverse racism in their eyes.
That's crazy, man. Judy Prinzer, is this some breaking news here about Biden to nominate Keaton G. Brown Jackson to Supreme Court?
It's kind of that's actually what I was thinking of when someone mentioned about Florida. Actually, Judy mentioned about Florida because Florida's governor is also speaking up about that, saying going right along with what I just said. He basically said that if Biden appoints a African American Supreme Court justice, then it'll be basically racist. Is what he was getting at.
Affirmative action type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get into exactly what he said.
Chrissy Snort said yes, just announced it. So that's the breaking news there. He just finally nominated someone. So I'm sure I said the name wrong. Ketanji Brown Jackson has been nominated to Supreme Court. Yeah, Terry Crawford said yes, just announced on Good Morning America.
Which is nice because we were just talking about the news that broke about Clarence
Thomas's wife.
Clarence Thomas's wife being a head of a right wing party organization and also being involved in the insurrection. So yeah, the first black woman to sit on Supreme Court coming just in time.
There you go. Congratulations. Brianna Fullenhouse says the committee will vote whether to advance it to full debate by the legislature, but it's doubtful it will be voted out.
There you go.
Okay.
Those are the prospects of that bill.
There you go. Also, we got Leah Kuster in the house. I'm probably saying the whole name wrong. It's probably Leah Kuester. But let us know how to pronounce your name. Let me know because I never know. She says, thank you for bringing attention to this. They're using dog whistles. It's so obvious what they're trying to do. It really is, man.
Yeah, man.
They don't care. They don't care about it being not obvious no more. I can tell you that.
No.
Nah. Mama Guy says, I'm still mad that I was taught in school that Columbus discovered America. Get over yourselves and let the children learn the truth about all contributors of this country. For real, man. Terry Crawford said, just announced. So Richard Lewis, brother Rich, went ahead and put in the link to the story about Biden's nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. That's what's up. Mm-hmm. Josh Takes says Clarice Thomas' wife is from Omaha, a big conservative family. Whoa.
Yep. Omaha's own.
Wow. Mama Guy says she's been in process of vetting for a while. Glad Judge Brown moving. That's what's up. Sean McCarthy says in the 70s, there were a lot of attention about a teacher who did an experiment. She singled out people of particular eye color, and that group didn't get the privilege of the rest of the class. In the 80s and 90s, this teacher was hailed as making racism palatable to children. Today, she would be demonized by CRT opponents. She's still demonized. I know exactly who you're talking about.
What is her name? Older lady, head full of white hair. She's crazy.
She's been doing this for a while, bro.
Yeah.
Since the 60s.
Oh, what is her name? That upsets me. I can't think of her name. But yeah. She's the truth. She's the truth. There's clips of her on social media, a room full of, white people asking them, if you would trade places with African Americans, raise your hand. And nobody ever raises their hand. And she's like, well, it's clear that you know what's going on.
Right.
So what you doing about it?
Straight up.
Straight up. Like
what is her? I can't remember her name, man. She was.
We need to put some respect on her name, man.
Yeah, for real. She was one of my favorites, man. I went on a tangent one time just posting everything she ever did. And of course, can't remember the name. That's the doggone shame. I'm sure somebody in the chat remembers. I want to go back and look on my page on Facebook because I posted so much of her. It's ridiculous. Just to let you know, it's 8:01 right now. Say again.
Jane Elliott.
Jane Elliott. Yes. Jane Elliott. That's right. Yep. As soon as you said it, I was like, yep. 8:01 right now. 8:02 actually. If you are, thank you, brother Charles. I appreciate you listening from California. Jane Elliott. Well, she's gangster, bro. Jane Elliott is the one. She's still doing it too to this day. So that's what's up. Brooke says they did that experiment at Bancroft Elementary when I was in 6th grade. Whoa,
man!
What teacher did that in Omaha back in the day? That wasn't Jane Elliott. That's crazy. That's yeah, Brooke. You gotta let me know what teacher that was and all that. That's insane. Let's take a quick break. 8:02 right now. If you're keeping track of time and believe in the concept, First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. You're now in the second hour, and we got more show to come. Get your haps together. It is Friday, and we need to definitely talk about what's going on this weekend because I think there's a few things going down. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Once again, it's Friday, y'all. Yo. Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool.
Hey. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Black Dynamite.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Leah Keister. Got it. Keister. I finally got around to changing my maiden name, Margolis. Oh, okay. This is Leah Margolis in the house.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
To married name Keister on my social media. That's what's up. Appreciate you. And thank you again for coming on in. Black Dynamite says, Paul, those videos I sent you about hockey is a prime example. Those one video talks about the history of the game and how black people created the modern version of the game. Yeah, man.
All right.
It's deep.
All right.
You don't seem to, you're not interested in that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying all right because I'm right there with him. Like, all right, you better let him know. You better let him know.
Black folks originated the way the game is played today. That's what's up. Jane Elliott put some respect on her name. We're gonna definitely be talking about that for sure. Pops loves the track. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate that.
Vibes.
Also, somebody who was saying, Mayor Sanchez says a poor white man will not trade lives with a rich black man. Yeah, man. She proved a lot. Jane Elliott, I love watching her stuff. They didn't capture enough of her as far as I'm concerned.
Nah.
She's been putting it down for decades now. So,
and Terry Crawford kind of giving us a little background. She says she molded her experiment after the Clark doll study used by Thurgood in Brown versus Board. So she going back.
Yeah. Brooke says we had library and they had a sign on the door before we went in, and it said only brown-eyed people could come inside the library.
There you go.
I love it. Yeah, man. Yeah, she's legendary with that. That's for real. I'm glad that everybody knows that. Yeah, I'm so happy that everybody knew the name too. Like, I can't believe I forgot that because I was really on it for a while. I'm really interested to know who initiated that stuff at your school, Brooke. That's in Omaha. That's in Omaha. Which school? Where were you at?
I think Bancroft Elementary is in Omaha.
Bancroft. Okay. That's interesting. I'd like to see who was pushing that. If they may be in here fighting right now. Brooke says they were upset. They then talked to all of us about discrimination in history.
See, that's how you teach it right there.
Somebody followed that method, man. Jane Elliott.
Man. And that might not be critical race theory, but that's how you teach about race.
They don't want that. I wonder how much buckback she's gotten in her life over that stuff.
Man, I wonder what it would be like if they did that today. How would the community respond to an experiment like that?
They call it reverse. They got words for it now. It's reverse racism.
Yeah. Another dog whistle.
Miss Erica Fell says, I didn't know the name. I just knew who you were talking about because I follow her. I could tell you what she looked like, but not her name.
Yeah, her face jumped to mind first.
Well, she was just the powerful way that she did these experiments and how she came up with them and how she really put it in front of people. Brother Sanchez says Bancroft is off 6th and Bancroft on the way to Lawrence and Gardens.
There you go.
Okay. So somebody in Omaha took Jane Elliott's ideas and put some elementary school through it. I wonder what kind of buckback they got.
Yeah. I would like to see that today. If any teacher is brave enough.
That's real. She says, I can't remember her name because in 6th grade we started having different teachers for different subjects, and I can't remember all of them. Okay.
No, there you go. Yeah, but it is 808. And if you believe in the concept of time, because it's 908 where I'm at. So
I believe in 808s.
Yeah. But I do want to keep it moving. There are several other articles, and we do have a special guest coming up, so we can't forget that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to speak about somebody else who's brave, definitely in the face of racism. Talking about Colin Kaepernick, man.
Come on, Cap.
Yeah, we definitely got guys put some respect on his name as well. Again, former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick announced the start of a new initiative. Again, he has continued with his Know Your Rights Camp organization and his advocacy. He has not stopped, regardless of his relationship with the NFL. And has actually started a new initiative to offer a free second autopsy to family members of anyone whose death is police related, quote unquote. Aptly named the Autopsy Initiative, which is offered again through the Know Your Rights Camp organization, will provide free secondary autopsies conducted by board certified pathologists who will disclose the preliminary findings and issue the final autopsy reports to families. The autopsy can be requested by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, such as a spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or even a lawyer. The autopsy must be authorized by a legal representative, according to the organization. The initiative will eliminate any concerns from the originally given autopsy, ensuring that it was conducted without any biases or errors, that any evidence wasn't manipulated, giving the families a clear picture of what happened. Too many times we see that the state, the state issues the autopsy. The report isn't released very quickly. It almost takes months and months for the families to actually get a report. So this is huge. This is definitely huge. Big shout out to Colin Kaepernick. Put some respect on Cap's name for the work that he's doing and continues to do.
That's real, man. I'm thinking about Zachary Beerhills right now and how they try to act like he died of excited delirium. And that's not no diagnosis, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll come up with some terms and do all kinds of stuff. Independent autopsy is a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's a situation in Omaha where there was a man who was, I don't know if any of y'all remember, the officer died in that shooting. The man and the officer died. She died. I think she was pregnant, died like a day or so before she was supposed to go on leave. I know people who's close to that young man who was killed by the police, and that family also had to go all the way to Indiana because he's from Gary, Indiana. That family had to go all the way to Indiana, get an autopsy from someone in Indiana, and it definitely came back that he was shot in the back, and like the whole autopsy went completely against the original report. So this is, I mean, we all know a lot of times it's the police word versus the person's word, and the person is usually criminalized. You know, they were stealing, they were doing something that you know justifies them being killed.
Right. And back in '82, they stole a pack of Now later. So,
man, right, and sometimes that autopsy is either withheld or used to support that claim. So this is big, man.
Huge. Definitely something to get behind for sure. So shout out to Cap, put some respect on his name for that for sure. Yeah, Zane says hi. What's going on, my dude?
Good dude.
Good morning to you. Are you having some R2D2 toast? What's going on?
Nice,
what's going on for breakfast? Brother Mayor Sanchez says no crime is punishable by death. You know, we find the majority of people in Nebraska believe that death penalty is unjust.
Yep.
The majority of people in Nebraska believe that, even if we are living in a death penalty state. So it just, you know, it's another thing here. This saying they're not paying attention. We got to speak louder. Mama God says, really, I did not know about the second autopsy. Is there legal action behind that? That's a good question. Your boy got shot in the back. You talking about the second autopsy there?
Yeah, she you gotta talk to Damien about it. This is my brother's like best friend's brother. Yeah, my brother and the family are very, very close. Actually, there's like some marriage through or relation through marriage there too. So yeah, I had to talk to my brother about it, but I do remember him telling me about that situation.
Mayor Sanchez put it in perspective. He said the police are not judge, jury, and executioner. They're just not.
There you go.
And hopefully we'll see what the conviction is of the three officers that have now been convicted, along with Derek Chauvin.
Man, you read my mind because right along that line, brother Sanchez, Mayor Sanchez, as we like to call you around here, you are correct. And that is the case. Definitely the decision with the three officers involved, again, following Derek Chauvin and assisting in the murder of George Floyd. Those three officers have now all been found guilty. The jury actually swept them all aside, emerging from 2 days of deliberations that followed a month of testimony. All three men were convicted of depriving Floyd of his right to medical care as the 46-year-old black man was pinned down for 9.5 minutes, handcuffed on the street. And what's quite interesting is just some of the excuses that these officers put forth as to why they did not do their job. Some of the reasons why they weren't to blame, according to their officers, are inexperience, bad training, fear of a senior officer, and the looming threat of angry bystanders. So them not doing the job, according to them, had nothing to do with them themselves. Everything that was out of their control. Yeah. Floyd's brother, Felonious Floyd, called the verdicts accountability. So again, there's, as you mentioned, Paul, one of the only and very few instances in this case where the officers are actually being held accountable. But justice has not been served, which is important to make the separation between the two. Again, Floyd's brother says, although the verdicts are accountability, he says there can never be justice because I can never get George back.
They're the truth.
Man.
This is definitely landmark, legendary stuff going on right now. Even if we don't think it's enough. Like you said, it's just so rare that it's national. It's world news, bro. World news.
And actually, Floyd's nephew, Brandon Williams, goes along with that. He says he hopes that the outcome sends a message that says if you murder or use excessive or deadly force, there's consequences that follow. And that has always been the hope, that we hold these guys accountable so they see what the consequences are.
Very, very true. 8:15 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek. Rich in the chat. Wanda Lewis says Carrie Orozco was the officer killed right before she was going to go on leave after having her baby.
Yeah.
Beth Davis Wilson says it was voted down, wasn't it? The Nebraska death penalty.
Yes.
Yeah, 2015 it was, but we've been talking about still putting certain inmates to death. And we've been, Pete Ricketts has been talking about buying the drugs to do so out of his own pocket and all kinds of stuff since then, even though it's been voted down.
It actually has done it on a couple of occasions.
Right. Mama God says, okay, man, I remember how my white coworkers threw him so far under the bus. Officials already knew that. Truth will set you free. Who were we talking about on that one?
Talking about the young man that was killed in the Carrie Orozco or Orozco situation.
Yeah, Wanda Lewis says Marcus Wheeler was the alleged suspect who also died.
Yeah. That was his name, Marcus.
Yeah. Mama God says no justice when someone is murdered by police. Vaughn Chapman says qualified immunity is finally being brought to bear.
Man,
that qualified immunity is a trip.
Yep.
First time I learned about that, I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Actually, your guy out in Cali, Cory Booker, he was supposed to be doing some work to put some bills together to combat that, and I don't know what happened with that.
Booker's New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yep. Beth Davis Wilson says no justice when someone is murdered. For real. Brother Sanchez says if I was a cop, I wouldn't carry a gun. Citizens would ask for me to show up to their calls for their calls. Yeah, I saw some areas in London that was like that the police didn't carry guns.
I think Sweden's like that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries that are still not really carrying firearms for their protect and serve work. Brenda Jackson's let's see. Beth Davis Wilson says he did buy the drugs. Governor Baldy, he'll do it again.
Yep.
He'll push for it. Shout out to brother Ernie Chambers. Put some respect on his name. One of the big reasons why there's no death penalty. Been fighting it for a long time, and it's gone back and forth. But right now, it's not. We don't live in a death penalty state, even though we have a governor that's trying to still put a couple. Yeah, there's still a couple of them out there he wants to get, regardless, and is trying to find every loophole to do so. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Really like this idea here. About this autopsy. I think a lot will come to light with autopsies.
Man, that's huge. And also, I'm kind of feeling like you're onto something with this change of the tide, not just with this Chauvin case and Chauvin and the other 3 officers all being found guilty, but also the Ahmaud Arbery case and those 3 men being found guilty of hate crimes. Again, not just you think back to not just the Rodney King situation where those officers got off, but even going back to Emmett Till, where it was just average everyday people, not officers, but they still got off got away with murder. That's not the case now.
Yeah, and about that case, the officers were also guilty because they allowed some things to happen that they knew was happening, and actually directed them to him, to Emmett Till. So they was guilty too, but nobody got convicted of any of that. So that's what we're dealing with. Von Chapman says conservative states all appear to be regressive. Mayor Sanchez says the wheels of change gaining traction. I hope it does, man. I hope it does. I hope it does. But it's we're so far down the rabbit hole though. You don't know.
Right.
You don't. I mean, a little bit of help is great, but there's so much more to deal with. Wanda Lewis says autopsies for everyone who dies in police custody and racial tension preceding a grand jury investigation as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's an officer involved killing, it automatically goes to the grand jury.
In the state of Nebraska, yes.
So what I would like to see is that be an open process, though. That's what I learned from last summer, from 2 summers ago, that we need to see what's going on and talk. We need to be more of a process. There needs to be more of an open process there for sure.
Yeah, because you remember the 15 police shooting cases that were all lumped up together, and towards the end of 2020, that again I forget his name, but the man that was killed by the police then, that case was wrapped up in those 15 different cases and just swept under the rug.
It was over a weekend. They went through all them cases.
Yeah,
they moved slow on everything else in life, and they got over them things in like a weekend. 15 cases that's been piled up and pending for years.
Man, so Ms. Lewis, you on to something.
That's real. Mama God said not enough police convictions. More convictions may reduce blatant black murders. It's the only thing that will. It's the only thing that will. Consequences. It's the only thing that will. 8:21 right now in Omaha, Nebraska. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Looks like we have our person in a Google Hangout. Okay, so we have some miscommunication here all the way around. Shannon Harner is in a Google Hangout. She just texted me, so maybe we can get a hold of her and have her come on in where we're at, and let's try to make that happen real quick, and we'll be right back and get in here talking to our guests. So stay tuned. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. A little 808 music for you real quick. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yo. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We're still working on that on the back end, trying to get our guests in with us. All right. So, yeah, we're still working on that. In the meantime, we can jump into some other stories, if you will. And I'll be working behind the scenes to try to get that going. Thanks for returning with us and sticking with us through the show. It's all because of you, the chat chimers, that we're doing this and having these great conversations. Really, really appreciate it. Wanda Lewis says, I remember when the chief of police was involved in the Franklin credit scandal. It's one of them things that we also have been trying to approach and talk about a little bit. Yeah. Brenda Jackson in the chat says, just recently read about a young lady who was incarcerated, pleading for help for 16 hours. No one helped. She died. No charges for the jail staff or warden, who said she has to wait till the morning. Shake my head. Where's the liability? Yeah, we still don't know what happened with who's the young lady that died in jail?
Sandra Bland.
Well, they said it was suicide, but that's always been suspect as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot's gonna come from some autopsy reviews for real.
Are you talking about Sandra Bland?
Sandra Bland, yeah.
Okay, because there was another situation that happened in Omaha, in Nebraska, where a woman was pregnant actually in jail, and had the baby in jail, survived, but was going through litigation, was actually suing the state and suing the police department during the process of that suit, ended up back in jail and somehow died while she was was incarceration.
Goodness, man.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Once again, let's move on to another subject here while we try to get our guest on, if you don't mind jumping into that. And let's see here. Okay, looks like we okay, sounds good. Yeah, buddy, if you can go ahead and jump in so we can get this done here.
Appreciate it. I have another story, kind of along with the same conversation. Again, another element to this conversation that definitely has to be discussed. Talking about the no-knock warrants. Again, we all know the situation that happened up in Minnesota, but there's another situation that actually is bringing another element to this conversation. The cross between no-knock warrants and stand your ground. Again, the stand your ground law gained national attention and prominence. With the death of so many people had passed. I still got George Floyd's name on my mind, but Trayvon Martin. There we go. Trayvon Martin again. The Trayvon Martin case and the situation brought stand your ground law to the forefront of the country, and now that law is getting new attention after the recent case of Corey Joseph Marinol Jr., who actually shot one shot at police who were serving a no-knock warrant, and he's using the stand your ground argument, and has actually won the case using that argument. Marino, who fired a single shot at people in his home, faces a charge of attempted murder of a law enforcement officer in Pensacola, Florida, even though his family says he didn't know police had burst through his door. Bryant told the Pensacola News Journal, he says, "I cannot understand why they are charging this man with no criminal history, who was not a person of interest and was not involved in whatever they were looking for." Again, James Bryant is the lawyer for Marino, and one of the officers actually was injured when he fell out of a police car after the incident in his father's house. Bryant says he expects to file to represent Marino as well. The former, a review of two other Florida cases, with circumstances similar to those in the case gives credence to the confusion. In one case from 2015, a court overturned a conviction. In another, a jury acquitted the suspect, who both used the stand your ground argument. And actually, in one of the cases, a white man who opened fire on a Brevard County Sheriff's deputy who actually came into his house. And also in the later case, the jury found A.J. Coffey, a black man, not guilty after he fired at authorities who broke through the window of his home. So there are several different instances where the stand your ground argument has been used to support against no-knock warrants. But the situation of no-knock warrants, the legality of it, is still something that's being discussed and should be continued to be discussed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we got like you were saying, there's a lot to talk about here, especially with the Amir Locke case. Being so close to what's going on here. This no-knock thing is a huge thing. We still are trying to find some family and some friends to come on and talk about that for sure. That's been a very difficult situation here in Omaha with all the people that are linked to this. And all I could say is, it's like it's kind of a trip, man, because it's just it's a situation where we're okay. Yeah, we're having some issues here with the guests. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a situation here where the first thing I thought of was Fred Hampton. Like they just come into your house while you sleep and do what they're gonna do.
Take you out. Just and like that. Brother J.R. Nacho Sanchez says, "I've been on the other end of a no-knock warrant a long time ago. Scary. Especially when you're not the party to the warrant, when you're not the one that they're looking for, or it's the wrong house, or they got their information wrong, which happens a lot." Yeah. It's a very scary situation, and just another one of the immunities, another one of the powers that were given to police.
Right. Learning about the reason why we even did that. They're like, we're doing this to protect you, so that we don't have to knock when you're calling because you're getting abused, domestically abused or something like that. You can just come in and grab the dude, they have all these reasons why the no-knock warrant was supposed to be protecting us. And how many times is it being used that way though?
Right. How it seems like it's being used to serve warrants more than to answer domestic violence calls.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, at least that's what we're hearing. They probably use them all the time, every day, and maybe they do help. Not trying to say that's just all the way out of the question, but the ones that we are hearing about is when they're being misused,
right?
And that's a big issue, especially in I don't even imagine what do they think is going to happen if we're living in a gun world. And you're a true good American if you defend your family from people breaching your front door, and unless it's a cop, then you're attempted murder of a police officer.
Yeah, I don't see how this is a good idea. I can understand how they feel like it might serve or solve some problems, but there could be other ways. It could be other ways. Yeah.
Let us know what you think on this one. And also, for those of you that are listening that are friends of First Sky Omaha and the family as well, let us know about who we can talk to that's associated with the Amir Locke that's in town here, and talk a little bit more about that case. There's a lot of people that are hitting us up saying they want to talk about this more, hear more about this, and have some discussion. So let us know if you have any connections there. I'm definitely going to reach out to Terrence Haynes, who was calling him nephew, and see what's going on there. See if there's somebody we can talk to, or talk to Terrence.
Mm-hmm.
Bring him on as well. Brother Mira Sanchez says, I've been on the other end of a knock search warrant a long time ago. Scary.
Yep. Christy Kenora says, I had a neighbor that got busted for drugs years ago. OPD destroyed the inside of their house looking for said drugs. Yeah,
that's crazy. Christy Kenora says, I had a neighbor that got busted for drugs years ago. That's what you just read.
Yeah.
This is kind of like I said, I think this all started. I remember this happening a lot in LA back in the 80s, especially like the crack epidemic. They had those things they would just hit the door with, these big huge pieces of metal, and just knock, SWAT and all that kind of stuff started in California, started in LA. And they would just come in 30 deep, just bust the door down and come in. And they passed those laws because of crack back in the 80s, and made it okay to just bust up in somebody's house like that, which is a trip when you think about it. Mayor Sanchez says, if you're a pro Second Amendment, you have to be for defunding the police. Who do you think is going to come get your guns? Christy North says Sherman Wells is family of Tamir. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Brother Wells. That's right. Love to talk to him. Battering ram. Yeah. Sanchez says, yeah, SWAT. That's crazy, man. Just battering ram, just coming, just bust up in your house like that.
Trying for you through your front door.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to leave while they busting in through your door. Like, yeah, it's just too much that can go wrong in this. It's just not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. So yeah, hopefully there's some movement on that. I like the fact that this situation here, they ruled against it. So they can kind of see, look, you're not just going, if nobody knows you coming up in the house and you shoot back at them, you should not be in trouble for that, because that's what they expect you to do, expect you to be. Mama Guy said it was initially supported in the 60s, but increased in 80s during war on drugs era.
Yeah, we talked about that war enough. So more like a war on race.
So true. Looks like we got our special guest in the house. She worked it out, so thank you very much for that. And let's just go ahead and bring you in now. How you doing this morning?
Great.
Good. Sorry for all the confusion there on where to come in at. Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Harner. Just say give her some love. Say hi. Appreciate it. All the chat chimers in the house.
Yes,
and I really appreciate you working it out. See you on your phone there, so that worked. Great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We're trying to work this out behind the scenes to get you on, so I'm glad you worked it out.
Yeah, it's always something technical going on with this show, definitely being live. So we do actually thank you for not just working it out, but taking the time out of your schedule to join us this morning, definitely early this morning. And this is a conversation that we've been looking forward to. So I know that the chat chimers, all the audience out there are also interested in this, because housing is a conversation we have a lot on this show, and hoping to learn some things And to my understanding, you are is it president, director? What is your actual title with the Nebraska Homeowners Association?
So great question. So I'm the executive director of the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, and we just basically go by NIFA because Nebraska Investment Finance Authority is kind of long. So
a little mouthful.
We like acronyms around here. NIFA is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is I guess sort of some of the work, some of the investments that you look at, and some of the things that you work on?
So NIFA is we're an instrumentality of the state, but we're not a state agency. And some of the things that we do are first time home buyer loans for low to moderate income folks. So we've done, we passed 95,000 new homeowner loans this last year. So we work to have below market rate interest to help people get into homeownership because we know how important that is for wealth building. And so that's one of our main focuses. We also allocate the tax credit for low income housing tax credits. So there are projects that go across the state that create affordable housing for people. And we're an integral part of that. And we're happy to be parts of that. Right now, I think there are over 19,000 units of low-income housing across the state that make it more affordable for people to be there. We also partner across the state with lots of organizations. So in Omaha, for instance, we work with Habitat for Humanity Omaha very closely. We help fund their loans. We also work with Spark Developer Academy to help get people, up and running and learning how to become developers to create affordable housing. We also fund organizations so they can get housing studies, just all kinds of, there's a whole bunch of stuff we do. And that's kind of an overview, I guess.
We have a very important question that we ask all the time that just over and over and over again, this comes up because we realize there's really no definition for it. And so we'd like to ask you, please define what affordable housing is.
Sure, absolutely. And we actually do have a definition for affordable housing. So there are kind of two different ways to look at it. And the first way is for any human being, your housing is not affordable if you're paying more than 30% of your gross income on your housing. So, you could be making $100,000, and if you're paying more than $30,000 a year on your housing, it's not technically affordable for you. You should be, and as a renter, that includes your utilities as well as the rent that you're paying.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's technically the definition of affordability. Now, when we talk about low-income housing and affordable housing, we're talking about that 30% number for somebody who's making either between 30 and 80% of the area median income. So it's a lower amount. But for any person, if you calculate how much am I paying in my mortgage, property taxes, and insurance, or how much I'm paying on rent and utilities, and then see, is that more than 30% of what my gross income is? If it is, that's not affordable.
Well, that takes a whole lot of houses off the market then for a lot of people because
that's a huge problem. I mean, right now the cost of new construction is so high that most people can't affordably purchase it. You'd have to have for the cost of new construction is, in Omaha, it's a little bit more than maybe Lincoln might be, but very comparable. But you're in the 300s, right? Just to get a new construction house built. And that's not like a huge new construction house. And to afford that, you're probably looking at having to make $80,000 a year or something to afford a new construction house affordably.
Yeah. I actually kind of crunched the numbers here really quickly. Looked up the GDP in Omaha, Nebraska, which in 2022 is about 63,000. That's according to Open Data Network. So roughly 30% of that would be 18,000 a year, which is about 1,500 a month. Right. So again, 30% of somebody who's making 63,000 a year is 1,500 a month.
And that includes your utilities,
How many, Paul, you've been looking for places? Everyone in the chat, they've been looking for places. How many places have you found that are you making $63,000 a year? Let's start there. Are you making $63,000 a year? Right. And have you found any housing that's around that price? So my question to you, Ms. Harner, is how do we, now that you've laid out that definition, how do we get houses that fall within that range?
There are a couple of ways that come to mind initially. So first, right now, what we know is in a new construction home, between 23 and just under 30% of the cost of that home is regulation. So it's what the city codes or the state codes make you do in order to build that house. So if you could strip out some of those things, obviously you need to make things safe, but are there things that we could do to reduce the cost of building a house? So right off the bat, you could make probably a pretty big impact. And part of those regulations are density, right? Like if we have lots where you say, nope, only a single family can go here. Well, if you could put a duplex there, or you could make the lot size smaller, the cost of building that, that house goes down exponentially, because the infrastructure in the lot, getting that water and sewer in, is really expensive. And so, that's one way to do it. And then a second way is to kind of start thinking about housing maybe in a different way. I mean, are there alternative ways that we can build there? We're looking at things like 3D printing. We're looking at things like there are more energy efficient ways to build. Do we need houses that are as big as they are? Could we just be more efficient with the layouts? And then also thinking about not having as many utility costs. So could you kind of go off grid? Could you make your house something that you're really not paying lots of extra utilities for? Those would all make the housing much more affordable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wanda Lewis in the chat says, I heard that they can work with people who has low credit scores. What would that score be?
Off the top of my head, and I think Habitat has different numbers, for instance, than NIFA does. For us, we are in the 600s. I don't want to give you the exact number because my chief homeownership officer has that, but you can actually go to the NIFA.org website and check out whether you're eligible for a NIFA loan.
NIFA, okay.
Yeah, NIFA.org.
Yep. She's also asking, what about those on a fixed income, such as Social Security and disability, et cetera? Do they fall between the cracks when it comes to buying a home?
They can, because especially when you're thinking about how lenders look at giving a loan, it's that income that's coming in. And so are they, is Social Security enough for them to say, yes, you've got a source of income that we consider sufficient to purchase? So I think there's a hole there. We need to help figure out how to bridge that gap in a better way.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of curious about that. As you mentioned, holes and bridging gaps. We know that over the last really 2 years, the housing market has shifted tremendously. What are some of the trends that you're noticing that are kind of stressing you out a little bit or worrying you as you look at the home buying and loans?
Well, one of the main trends is just the lack of inventory, right? What we're seeing is for existing homes, which are the most affordable homes, and typically are what in the old days you'd say, a starter home wasn't a new construction home necessarily. It was a home that somebody had moved out of and moved up into something else. But those houses are dilapidating because people can't afford to fix them up. And so then really they're not safe or not desirable for people to move into. And also they're getting purchased by people who are investors from out of state or even in state, but then that means they're not available for home ownership. And then the other trend that we're seeing is just the extreme cost of construction, right? It's gone up and up and up. We've seen that across the board. And I think, in our low-income housing projects, we've seen increases of anywhere between, on the really low end, 10% and up to 30 to 40% of costs have just increased over the past couple of years. So that makes it really tough to get a project done.
On that note, Von Chapman in the chat says, how are builders able to build so-called affordable housing in areas where the people can't afford to buy because income restrictions? Yeah, you're kind of talking about that a little bit as far as developers are concerned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's almost a catch-22 because the cost of building new homes is expensive, but also, as you said, a lot of the existing homes are dilapidating. So there's still some kind of construction that has to be done to those homes as well, which is also expensive. And I'm kind of curious, as we saw in 2008, do you think that this bubble will burst at some point, or how do you think this trend will continue?
I mean, I guess, something's got to give at some point. So we're going to have to figure out what the solutions are, because the need for housing is not going away. And that's why there's a big discussion right now at the unicameral for putting some of the ARPA funding into housing uses to help us. It's still going to be a drop in the bucket, but if whatever we can get can be helpful, I think. But the trend's not changing. I mean, right now, people's incomes aren't increasing at the rate necessary to keep up with the cost of housing. And hopefully the cost of housing will level out. I mean, I think once we figure out some of these supply chain issues, which is one of the things that's causing the cost to go up, that will level back down a little bit. But we could still be a couple of years away from solving supply chain issues. We just don't really know that. And then the other thing that we really, really need is people who work in the construction trade. So if anybody out there who's listening is thinking, hey, I'd be interested in a construction trade career, I'd say go for it. It's sorely needed.
Lots of work out there.
Yeah, there's actually some work that we're doing with some of the audience here and trying to get people into trade-based occupations and kind of get some work done on that front. So yeah, that'd be nice. And also, as far as the supply chain, may or may not be able to get into a little later on as far as time, but there is some discussion in articles that dictating how the Ukrainian-Russian conflict and some of the sanctions that are going out will impact supply chain, impact logistics and things like that.
Yeah, metals, oil, all that kind of stuff is being affected right now.
Yeah.
Right.
We do have a member of the chat chimers, everybody who is co-hosting with us here on this show and asking questions that has received a NIFA loan. Erica Felt, Miss Erica Felt says, I have a NIFA loan for my mortgage. I bought this house January 18th. So have somebody that has some experience there. Maybe you can let us know a little bit more about that. And also, what are some of the qualifications for some of this help? I'm kind of wondering. Also, Ashley Ray Turner in the chat is asking, could you also talk more about the Nebraska Homeowners Association Fund?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Nebraska Homeowner Assistance Fund, it launched on February 1st. And we have, and these are ARPA funds that came down, from the federal government, and the state of Nebraska got $50 million. And the point of the funds is to help people be able to stay in their homes if they've had, COVID-related problems, being able to keep up with their mortgage or their property taxes, or, there've been liens placed on their house as a result of the COVID impact. So we have 3 different programs, and one of those programs is mortgage reinstatement. So if you are behind in your mortgage, you can apply for the fund to help bring you current. And we're limited. Every applicant can have no more than $30,000 because we're trying to make sure that we're spreading it, out amongst as many people as we can to help people stay in their homes. And you can also ask for forward payments, but to ask for forward payments, you have to also already be in arrears. In other words, you can't just say, well, I could use some help going forward, but I'm not in arrears. I don't have any mortgage delinquency. You've got to actually have something that you've not been able to pay in the past. But then you could ask for a cure from your past and some money moving ahead. And also, if you don't have a mortgage, you might be living in your house and it was your mom's house and you never actually went through a probate after she died, but you're living there. And so you don't technically own the house, but you've got property taxes that you need, or you need to actually get it transferred into your name. That's something else that our program can help you with. And we're working really closely with legal aid and with our partners across the state who are involved in housing.
A lot of times we identify this help sometimes, especially like when it comes to the funds that are coming down. And we see that there's a lot of hoops that people got to jump through. Sometimes it's hard for them to be able to qualify for some of these things. What's the difficulty level here for getting help from the Nebraska Homeowners Assistance Fund?
So we've tried to make it as simple as possible, but still we have to follow what the federal guidelines are. So in general, I have a little paper here. Okay, what do we need?
She brought some notes. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we like
That's
it.
right.
We like it.
I was prepared here. So if you want to apply, go to, it's Nebraska HAF, HAF. So Nebraska HAF dot, I think it's com. I'm just getting right here. Yeah, .com, nebraskahaf.com. So you go to that website, and what you will need in order to start your application online is a valid photo identification, a mortgage loan statement, if you're applying for the mortgage loan assistance, something that shows that you live where, at that address that you're asking for assistance for. And that could be a utility bill or, just something else that shows, yep, I'm actually staying at this place, because this isn't for vacation homes. This isn't for your rental home. This
Airbnbs.
Is right. You're not your Airbnb. This is your primary residence. And then an income verification document, so that because this is an income qualified program. So you have to make 100% of area median income or less. And where the 100% of area median income is actually the federal area median income, because they give us the option of use the federal area median income or your state, and the federal's higher than our state, so we went with the federal. And so those numbers are on online. You can find them. I'm just going to pull up the Douglas County number because I brought it because I knew that would be important. And it's by the number of people who are in your household. So if you make less than $79,900 for a one-person household, or less than, and that goes clear up to the 5-person household, is $79,900. If you have a 6-person household, it's $81,550. But if you make less than that, you are eligible, under the income guidelines.
Okay. And again, how many months back in the rears do you need to be before you can qualify for trying this?
Well, it is limited by that $30,000, which is the max cap for anybody in the program. And it's got to be for a problem that either started or continued from January 20th, 2020 forward.
Okay.
Von Chapman says, how timely is the process? Can an individual get a stay from foreclosure until the process is completed?
So this depends on the foreclosure process that you have. Your lender has to agree to work with us in this process. If you are in the midst of foreclosure or you've received a notice of default, because most foreclosures are done through deed of trust sales as opposed to like an in-court foreclosure. And so it's harder. In in-court foreclosure, you could go in and, request a stay. On the we're going to sell it on the steps of the courthouse at auction, you have to have them agree to do that. But we are referring people who are in that process directly to legal aid to help immediately. So if you are in that position, please apply and we'll get you to legal aid.
Yeah, we've actually spoken with Dave Pontos, who's assisting with legal aid. They're doing good work. It's actually nice to know that you're working with them, and which is actually something I wanted to get into. I don't know if you wanted to go back to the chat, Paul.
853 real quick. Yeah, go ahead if you can get it in the next couple minutes here. Then go ahead. We'll jump in the chat later.
Yeah, well, just one aspect of development, building new housing and things like that, of course, is displacement. That's something that we're always worried about with that. And I see that you do have a community engagement aspect of your program and the things that you do. So I did kind of want you to speak more to that. How are you engaging the community, and what role does that play in your overall program?
Yeah, so our community engagement team is really active, and they are out working with organizations that are local and in neighborhoods to try to help understand what is needed in those neighborhoods, and then to try to help bring those resources to those people. And we're pretty grassroots from that perspective. Like we aren't going to come in and do a development as NIFA. We'll come in and help facilitate how you fund a development, how you want to do it. But we're here to partner with the local people to figure out what works for them, because it's different in every place.
Since you work with lower credit scores, this is a loan, so there's interest rates, right?
Yep.
And how does that get determined, and what are they?
So our interest rates, we look at them every day, and we set them, in comparison to what the markets are. So we fund our loans through selling NIFA bonds. So that's another thing. If anybody wants to, buy a NIFA bond, you can buy a NIFA bond and help fund us doing more loans for people. And so we look at what's happening in the bond market, what's happening in the lending market, and then we set our rates every day based on that. And we have kind of two different programs. We have just the straight, here's the loan program, and we're always just at least under what the market rate is. Then we can also do what's called a home buyer assistance loan. So we do that first loan, and then there's a second home buyer assistance loan, which is basically down payment money for you. So if you don't have enough down payment money to get into the house you want, you can do, we call it a NIFA HUBA, home buyer assistance loan. And that gives you, for a 1% loan, that second amount for your down payment.
Okay. Ashley Ray Turner says half money does not need to be paid back either.
Correct. Unless you applied for the money and you were not entitled to it, in which case then you got to pay it back. But as long as you were eligible for the program and you got the money, this is money for you. And it doesn't go directly to people. It goes to their lender, or to if your property taxes are gone, or if your, whatever those things are, it goes directly to the person that you owe that money to.
One last question before we let you get out of here. What is the price cap for a house? How expensive a house can you buy with this?
Well, so the Home Buyer Assistance Fund is not a purchase program, right? The NIFA loan program is a purchase program. And in the NIFA loan program, I don't actually know what the top amount is, but I know it just increased this year, and it is north of 350,000, maybe three. So all that information is on the NIFA website, though.
Okay. Cool. We'll direct people there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a pleasure.
We definitely have to have you back. Definitely more questions. Like I said, this is a pretty evergreen topic for us, and we're talking about it all the time. And there's a lot of questions in the chat here. So we'll definitely have you back and talk a little bit more. We're running a little late today, end of the show coming up. One last thing I did want to ask. Vaughn Chapman says, who underwrites NIFA? We have a thing around here that we call follow the money. Who underwrites NIFA? And maybe you can go out on that note.
Yep. So we underwrite ourselves, and we do that through our mortgage loan program. So we live off of the interest and the repayments from the loan program, and it's selling those bonds. So we're self-funded.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go. We do have one person in the chat. Vicky Young says, please state her contact info. So if anyone is interested in getting involved with NIFA, applying for some assistance, or just have any more questions for you, how can they get in contact with you?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is to say, I'm going to give you mine is shannon.harner@nifa.org. You can always go to the nifa.org website, and you can also email to info@nifa.org. And any of those ways are ways you can get a hold of us.
There you go. We'll try to drop those into the chat for everyone to visit. Actually, Brother Rich is already on that. So we have the NIFA website, and also the email address for anyone interested in doing more research and reaching out.
Great.
Right on. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, we really appreciate you coming. We'll have you back another time.
Sounds great. Yes. Have a great day.
You too.
You as well.
Bye.
Right on. Right on. Okay. A lot of some questions answered then. I definitely did not know anything about this fund. So that's
No, I didn't either. So again, learning something new. As always, we're here to educate and inform and entertain, our form of edutainment. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in, dropping those questions. We asked you to get them ready, and you had them. So yeah, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you.
We're going to get out of here on time today. We have no time for the haps, unfortunately. We'll put haps on Friends of First Sky Omaha. And if you have any haps, please do the same thing. Let us know what's going on this weekend. It's supposed to warm up a little bit this weekend. So hopefully we'll wear mask up and go out and do something, maybe have some fun. So
all that.
Right on. Beth Davis Wilson says, good weekend, all. Appreciate it. Miss Erica Fell says, thank you for that. Brooke says, great show. Vicky Young says, thanks. And I really appreciate that. Really appreciate everybody chiming in right now. Vicky Young says, have a great day. You have a great day too. Want everybody to have a great day. Have a great weekend. Amy Hutfliss says, thank you so much for that. Ms. Erica Fell says, I plan to buy again in 3 years. So all this information is important for myself and to help others who may be facing crisis as well. Thank you. Yeah, there's a couple people I'm going to call. Like, there's some funds so you can save your mortgage, right?
Man.
Yeah, they need that. They can use that help for sure. JR, is this Mayor Sanchez again? He says, spread love.
Yeah.
Mama God says, take care. Gwenisha says, have a good day. Thank you very much for coming on in. If you've missed any parts of this show, you can go back and watch them again. We leave them up on Facebook for you to watch it in their entirety from now on. So they're here for you to go back and check out. And definitely check into the chat. There's a lot of good suggestions and some good questions and stuff in the chat. Read the chat along with the show as well. So you can get the information from the chat chimers, but they're part of this show as well. And this is what it's all about, the discussion. So we're here for that. Mr. Feld says, drink water, keep your space, and be good to yourselves, everyone. Appreciate it. Vaughn Chapman says, continue to live long and prosper. Man, I'm glad that you keep saying that, man, because I keep on forgetting words of wisdom. Starly Dayfleet meditation, man, stagnates if he has no ambition, no desire to be more than he is. James Tiberius Kirk, man stagnates if he has no ambition, no desire to be more than he is. So let's all hopefully continue with the desire to be more than we are together and build up the North and South Side and all of Omaha. And really appreciate everybody that's joining in. Stay safe, fam. Brother Valentine says, have a great weekend, y'all. We're going to get out of here. Buddy, you got some words for the peoples?
Yes. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. But thank you for joining the show, making it what it is. We call you our co-host for a reason. The show would not be the same without all of you letting your minds be free, letting your voices be heard. That's what it's about, an ongoing conversation. So tell a friend and tell a friend. Let's keep the conversation going and growing and continue to learn and educate ourselves, man. So we appreciate you. Love you. Also, a quick reminder, we are working on spreading First Sky Omaha to wherever you are. So if any of you would like to see us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, let us know. We are kind of working on that. Also, you can now go to firstsky.omaha.com to see past episodes of First Sky Omaha in the morning. Yeah, we got that. We got that watch button working. So again, check out firstsky.omaha.com to check out previous episodes of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Sweet. Thank you so much. We want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. We want to give a shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before them. A shout out to Star Trek Rich and the Webberize crew that lets us broadcast right here from their beautiful studios. If you have podcast ideas, definitely check out webberize.com. They're the bomb for sure. So check them out. Also want to give a shout out to Buddy and his family for allowing us to broadcast live from the new house, the new spot out there in Atlanta, Georgia. Appreciate you. And all of you, the chat chimers as well. And everybody who is a reoccurring member of the station, all the new members that have signed up. Really appreciate that. Yeah, please, if you haven't done so, go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button and become a reoccurring member of this so we can keep the conversation rolling. And that's kind of how we do this. We've been doing it grassroots since the start, and we're still here on it. And it's all because of you and your help. So really appreciate that. We'll see you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday when we'll have Chris Bowling over here from The Reader, and someone from Flatwater Free Press is going to be over here too. And we'll talk about what we're going to get into in the next week. And then, of course, we got Michelle Trotzler's Soapbox Moment on Wednesday. Lots to look forward to next week. Stay tuned and keep it, stay woke. Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool. Cock-a-doodle-doo, fool. Stay woke. All night and all day. Peace, y'all. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. Crossroad with the key
by any means necessary.
We still on the air. Where's little mama at?
She's upstairs with her mother.
Yeah, see. Now I miss her.